Hello, friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. We're in Bible study. Yeah, we're in the NIV. If you have very strong emotions about that, understand. I don't have very strong emotions. I started with this one. My intention for this channel is every day for the rest of my life, I'm going to, or as long as I physically can, because however that works out. I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna, put my face on the internet reading different passages from the Bible of all the versions. I'm not gonna read this one version over and over again. I don't really do that. In fact, I have a bunch of books that I actually have a collection of that I'm gonna actually give away to people who will enjoy reading them, because I'm not gonna reread them. So I don't need to keep them. Let someone else enjoy them instead. Like the local library, maybe even send them off to a prison. I don't know. However I'm going to donate them, I'm going to donate them to someplace. And, make room. Because I'm going to need to buy more versions of the Bible. So there's a lot, though. I looked that up. There's like 400 different versions of the Bible. So it's like, I don't have enough time in my lifetime to go through and read all those different versions. So, I'm going to pick and choose through things. Okay? Because I don't even have the new KJV. I just have the old KJV, apparently, because it's like from the 1870s or something. So I'm like, I don't know what the book's missing. I got to read it to find out. Got to have something to start with so you can compare. This is the one that seems to get the most emotional reaction. So we're probably, when we get to the other ones, going to be talking about, but in the NIV, they said this BS, right? So, it's probably going to happen. I've already done it. Okay. Chapter 20, but I'm going to do that with every version. Matthew. We're in the book of Matthew in the NIV. We're doing chapter 24, which is a very long chapter. Okay. It's 50 verses. So here we go. Signs of the end of the age. Actually, because if this is too long, the wrong song gets on there in the background, then things start getting copyrighted. Not in the United States, but in other countries. Because, much spreading of the good news is possible when you're a minister. That's your objective. All right. Signs of the end of an age, chapter 24, verse 1. Jesus left the temple and was walking away when his disciples came to him and called his attention to its buildings. Do you see all these things? He asked. I tell you the truth. Not one stone here will be left on another. Everyone will be thrown down. That's true. That's actually very true. That happened. Because sitting on top of the temple now is the Dome of the Rock. So Jesus was predicting the future. As Jesus was sitting on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately. Tell us, they said, when will this happen? And what will be a sign of your coming and the end of your age? Jesus answered, watch out that no one deceives you. For many will come in my name, claiming I am the Christ, or Messiah. And that's the same when we encounter it in verse 23. And will deceive many. You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but see to it that you are not alarmed. Okay? Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Nations will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places, and all these things are the beginning of birthing pains. So man's going to still do what man does and create destruction where man creates destruction, because that's the nature of man. And I mean that like mankind, not gender biased. Then you will be handed over to be persecuted and put to death. You will be hated by all nations because of me. He's talking about Christians in general here. At that time, many will turn away from the faith and will betray and hate each other. Many false prophets will appear and deceive many people. Because of the increase of wickedness, the love of most will grow cold. But he who stands firm in the end will be saved. And the gospel of the kingdom will be preached in the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. So when most of the world has heard about Christianity, which means we're already there, the end of the world can come. So at any time, because we're already in this place. So when you see standing in the holy place the abomination that causes desolation, B, Daniel, chapter 9, verse 27, chapter 11, verse 31, chapter 12, verse 11, which means to God that means something very specific. And we should be paying attention to that. Okay? Spoken through the prophet Daniel. Let the reader understand. Okay? I feel like this is like that moment in the never-ending story, which God keeps bringing up a lot in different places. I feel like this weekend, one of my assignments is to watch the never-ending story again. I mean, like, I'm an 80s kid. I own the never-ending story. It's over there. I can put it, like, even if the internet went out, as long as I had power, it wouldn't matter. I could still watch a never-ending story. Because, I don't really watch my DVDs, but I haven't gotten rid of them. Then let those who are in Judah flee to the mountains. Let no one on the roof of his house go down to take anything out of his house. Let no one in the field go back to get his cloak. How dreadful it will be for those days for the pregnant and nursing mothers. Pray that your flight will not take place in winter or on the Sabbath. For then there will be a great distress, unequal from the beginning of the world until now, and never equaled again. I wonder what they mean by the beginning of the world. Like, that's the part that alarms me. Because understand, the beginning of the world when it was inhabitable for humans, or the beginning of the world when it was a giant molten rock of things that all just flung together and everything is on fire and there's no way any life could have been supported at that time. How much the beginning of the world? If those days had not been cut short, no one would survive. That is true. But for the sake of the elect, those days will be shortened. Okay? At that time, if anyone says to you, look, here is the Christ, or there he is, do not believe it. For false Christs and false prophets will appear and perform great signs and miracles to deceive you, to deceive even the elect. So even the leaders will be deceived, if that were possible. In our world, sure it is. Leaders are easily deceived. They're deceived by social media. See, I have told you ahead of time. So, no, if anyone tells you, there he is out in the desert, do not go out. Or here he is in the inner rooms, do not believe it. For as lightning comes from the east is visible even in the west, so there will be a coming of the Son of Man. Wherever there is a carcass, there the vultures will gather. So wherever there's an opportunity to try to exploit, of course those who want to exploit will show up. I mean, that's true of anything. Any institution in the world where you have a place of unchecked power, you're going to attract creepy people who want to hurt others, and they want to find a loophole in which to do it. Yeah. Creepy people exist everywhere and have since the beginning of time. It's very unfortunate that they are so terrible and that humanity is still evolving into being a human being. Because when we're done and we're a human being, when we by default want to act like Jesus. We're a long ways from that. So we're still evolving as a species. Okay? That's important to remember. Verse 29. Immediately after the distress of those days, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light. So we'll be doing a new moon. And the stars will fall from the sky. That's not good. But it could mean shooting stars. And the heavenly bodies will be shaken. Okay. So that could indicate an earthquake on Earth, because if we're shaking, of course, it's going to look like space is shaking. See. Or we could see, it's Isaiah 13:10 and 34:4. Okay. So it could be the earth is shaking, or, maybe it's things, moving around up there. I don't know what heavenly bodies. But we are supposed to have a nova. Like a mini nova kind of thing. One of the stars, a strawberry nova. One of the stars, the one Beetlejuice. I'm not kidding, that's its name. It's spelled like Beetle Guys, but you pronounce it like Beetlejuice. Beetle Guys, to me, Beetlejuice. It's the shoulder in Orion. Because Orion's got the arrow. It's got the Sagittarius. It's got the shape, right, of the arrow. That's where they get it from in astrology. The astronomy and the astrology are overlapping. Remember that, because once upon a time they were together. Now they're separate. But if you follow that shape in the night sky, you're going to get two stars, one here, and then like a third one up here, because that represents kind of like his head. But this one that's this shoulder, it will, it's any day now, it's going to go supernova. It's the sun. So it's going to blow up that whole solar system, and it will look like a strawberry nebula in the night sky that we will be able to see with our naked eye. No telescope needed. That's how we'll know when it is. So you'll know when it happens. So it could be something like that, too, when the heavens are shaken. Because, it's going to have a repercussive force. It's not going to really affect us here because we're too far away. But we're going to see things look funny up there. Okay. Verse 30. At the time, the sign of the Son of Man will appear in the sky. I don't know if that's the star, the same star that led them. And all the nations of the earth will mourn. They will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of the sky with great power and with power and great glory. And he will send his angels with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his elect from the four winds, from one end of the heavens to another. Now learn this sign from the fig tree. As soon as its twigs get tender and its leaves come out, you know that summer is near. Even so, when you see all these things, you will know that it, or he, is near, right at the door. I tell you the truth, this generation, or race, will certainly not pass away until all these things have happened. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away. I'm a person with a very heavy science background, and I love astronomy. I love all kinds of things. I love anything that tries to explain it. And then, of course, I love the Bible, right? Because this reading every version of the Bible I can get my hands on has been an objective since I was a child. Nobody gave it to me. He gave it to me. That's who gave it to me. Nobody else gave it to me. No living person walking around, because I wasn't raised by that kind of family, okay? So it just isn't really that way. There really wasn't a lot of people to be talking to me about this stuff. I found my ways, multiple ways, because I moved around a lot, multiple ways to different churches. I always found my way back to him. This, with the science overlapping with the religion, says we are looking for, because Newton, Sir Isaac Newton, who we think of as a scientist, but at his time would have called himself an alchemist, because they were one and the same. the mysticism overlaid on top of the science. Some of those symbols are the same in the mathematics, the physics of it. He got obsessed with revelations. A scientist got obsessed with revelations. They keep talking about the heavens and about the moon not being appearing or any, like, it's if a sun goes supernova. That's what it is. He was trying to calculate when our sun could go supernova. He was listening to what they were describing, applying science to it, and saying that's what he thinks it is. And he was trying to see with all the mathematics if he was correct. Now, I can't tell you whether or not he was, like, I don't do that kind of science. I'm not qualified to confirm or deny his calculations or anything he was saying. But it makes perfect sense to me, because I'm doing the same thing. I'm looking up there. I'm always looking up there. On my pictures that show up on the social media, they're of the sky, they're of clouds, they're of the moon, they're of all of it. When something's wrong, when it's our time, we're going to see the signs up there. They keep telling us that. The hour, the day and the hour unknown. I'm sorry, this is the subject matter, but it's what he is talking about. It's the word of the Lord. Verse 36. No one knows about the day or the hour, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son. So Jesus is saying, I don't even really know when. Some manuscripts say, do not have nor the Son. So they're saying maybe Jesus knew, but so some people think Jesus knew. So we'll find that in the other versions. But only the Father. Well, we're always on divine timing. That's just how it is. As it was in the days of Noah, so it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. He likes to show up in weather. That's how you really know when it's God. It's weather. Weather's always involved, or nature. Like when nature suddenly stampedes. Like, you know that scene in Jumanji? Or even better, when you're watching the movie Avatar, not Avatar, Aang Avatar, but Avatar, like Avatar Way of the Water, and then, the first Avatar. When nature revolts and comes, and wild animals come in and start killing the invading terrible humans that are trying to take over this wild place, that's when it's God. Okay? That's all God. Because we can't make animals do that. That is when the poaching hunters are out there hunting one type of animal and the wild lions in that habitat eat them. And we're like, well, you shouldn't have been poaching. It's God. For in the days before the flood, people were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, up to the day that Noah entered the ark. And they knew nothing about what would happen until the flood came and took them all away. That is how it will be in the coming of the Son of Man. 2 men will be in the field. One will be taken and another left. 2 women will be grinding with a hand mill. One will be taken and the other left. Therefore keep watch, because you do not know on what day your Lord will come. But understand this: if the owner of the house had known at what time of night the thief was coming, he would have kept watch and would not have let his house be broken into. So you must be ready, because the Son of Man will come at the hour when you do not expect him. Well, so maybe all this stuff about the sky is just them faking us out. Because, faith is what gets you up there anyway. Who then is the faithful and the wise servant, whom the master has put in charge of the servants in his household, to give them their food at the proper time? The Lord will provide. He says that. It will be good for the servant whose master finds him doing so when he returns. Be ready. So you're ready to leave just like that. I tell you the truth. He will put him in charge of all his possessions. But suppose that servant is wicked and says to himself, my master is staying away for a long time. And then he begins to beat his fellow servants and to eat and drink with the drunkards. The master will come to find on a day when he does not expect him, and at an hour he was not aware of, and he will cut him to pieces and assign him a place with the hypocrites, where there'll be weeping and a gnashing of teeth. So it's like talking about hell. Although hell's not really part of the Jewish faith. There's a thing called Sheol, though, which sounds like what we describe as hell in the Protestant faith. Okay, so really one and the same. Not everybody gets to go when the sun goes supernova. He's going to collect, harvest all, separate the wheat from the chaff. That's what he says. And that's always how it works. Even in the Old Testament, when he was sending in armies and things, the people who submitted didn't get hurt. They survived. And it was their descendants that got to come back, and not the people who put up the resistance. Because when he tells you to surrender, he means surrender. So let's keep that in mind as we go about the world today.